The Handmaid's Tale Season 6 Everything We Know. With Season 5 of the show recently coming to an end, and it finishing with it looking as though June was leaving Toronto with her newfound ally Serena, it leaves many questions about what's to come for her, but also those that we left in Gilead, such as Nick, Janine, Aunt Lydia, and most importantly, Hannah. So with that, I thought I'd take a look at all that was out there and give the latest news whilst giving my theories and predictions to what I think is going to happen next. So let's get into it. Here is The Handmaid's Tale Season 6 Everything We Know. Just to let you know, this video will contain spoilers. The release date. In terms of a release date for the show, it's not something that's currently out there. In terms of a Season 6, we know that a 6th season has been given the green light and that it will sadly be the final season in The Handmaid's Tale, but there is a spin-off show in the works based on the Testaments. However, in terms of a release date of this show, when we look back at all of the previous seasons, it had been released every year other than in 2020 between Season 3 and Season 4. This was most likely due to the coronavirus pandemic and it delayed productions and release. So I would say, taking that into consideration, it most likely means that we'd see a Season 6 of the show next year in 2023, around a similar time to when this season came out. So I'm going to predict a September release in 2023. So hopefully that means we've not got that long to wait. The story. In terms of the story, there are so many different directions that the show could potentially go in for a 6th season. We've far surpassed the novel and the show has taken on its own direction, so it certainly feels as though we're going to get a completely original ending that will have been devised for the purpose of the TV series, which I think is good. In terms of June and Serena, we last saw them encountering each other on the train that they were getting out of Canada, with the hopes of then being able to go to a new location where they'd be far away from the grasp of Gilead and now be safe. The both of them are mirrors of each other, and we saw that represented in the final shot on the train. The former enemies are definitely going to become allies, and just as we saw when Serena wanted to get her newborn baby Noah back, June gave her an idea of how to do so. I think with Serena's inside knowledge of Gilead, she'll most likely assist June in being able to try and get Hannah back. Serena is now against Gilead based on her recent treatment, so she'll have no problem in helping June, other than the fear of being caught. The Wheelers will most likely be after baby Noah, so there will be a risk in Serena participating in this. The hunt for Hannah will most likely be at the core of the season and will be the main priority for June still. But the very idea that she may not get her back is something that does come into my mind. June has never really had a happy ending, and when we look at the Testaments and the very fact that they're creating the show, for it to happen the way that it does in the book, it would mean that June wouldn't be reunited. But as I mentioned, they'll most likely be doing their own original ending, so I'm hoping June will get her happy ending. Esther is relatively rebellious and we've not seen her for a while, so there's no reason as to why they couldn't make her the main focus in the Testaments if they wanted to give June a happy ending with Hannah. With regards to Nick and Luke, I personally think that June will end up with Luke, and that's because I believe Nick is going to die in the final season. I think that June loves Luke due to their past together and the connection that they have with Hannah, but he's never really understood all that she went through when she was in Gilead. Granted, in that final scene, he did the right thing and gave himself up for the greater good, meaning June was able to escape. But I believe both Nick and June are in love with each other in their present forms. Nick understands June, something Luke will never be able to do, but I think Nick is going to die. I believe Nick's arc will be focused around him doing all that he's doing for the sake of protecting June and Nicole, and I think the commanders aren't going to have any of it. I don't want that to be the case, but I just feel his time is going to be short-lived in Season 6. Especially considering Rose has left him now, so where's his place in that society? In terms of Luke, I'm hoping Twello will be able to find a way to get him out of jail. Twello has always pulled through at the right moment, so I'm hoping the same thing will be able to happen again this time, and then he'll be able to join June and Serena. With regards to Janine and Aunt Lydia, I think their stories are going to be extremely interesting. We last saw Janine being taken away by the Eyes and put in the back of a van. This was due to the way that she spoke to Naomi. Janine has had a real turbulent journey in the show, and I feel her story could go one of two ways. Her speaking out was her showing the strength that we always knew was inside of her, and I feel we could see her start to be a June-like figure for the rest of the handmaids inside of Gilead if she does manage to survive what's about to happen. Or I think Janine could be killed for speaking out against Naomi in such an aggressive way, especially considering Janine's history. If this does happen, I think it would then be the final thing that would be needed for Aunt Lydia to turn against Gilead. We've seen the genuine care and love that she has for Janine. She almost views her as a daughter, and with Aunt Lydia already wanting to change the regime from how it's currently laid out for the handmaids due to the mistreatment of them and the damage to their mental and physical health, I think if Janine is harmed, then there will be no going back for Aunt Lydia. I believe she'll start to infiltrate from within and find a way to start the gradual bringing down. This then leaves us with Commander Lawrence. Commander Lawrence is the master villain, I believe. We've seen that his visions of New Bethlehem have good intentions, but again, just like with Gilead, he wants to be the pioneer and will do anything to have it created, even getting married to Naomi, which it's clear to see he doesn't really want to do because he's not over the loss of his previous wife. He cut ties with June, Aunt Lydia will most likely want nothing to do with him, and Nick also no longer respects him. So he's going to get to a point where he's on his own, which I believe will make him extremely vulnerable, and will then start to render the work that he's doing pointless, as it could be stopped at a moment's notice. I hope there is an element of redemption with Commander Lawrence, because I do feel he has good within him. Esther is somebody that we've not seen for a long while, so it's hard to say what's going to happen to her. But I do want to see more of her, as she already has a rebellious side that I feel is going to be important in the final season, especially if Aunt Lydia turns. There are so many different directions that Season 6 could go in, and I can't wait to see how it does eventually pan out. The cast. In terms of the cast, there were no major deaths in the season finale of the show. Granted, it's not looking good for Janine, but other than that, I think it's safe to assume that all of the main characters will be returning as they each play an important part in the conclusion of the story. So that means June, Serena, Luke, Moira, Nick, Aunt Lydia, Janine, Esther, Commander Lawrence, Rose, Naomi, Commander Mackenzie, Swello, and of course Hannah will be returning on our screens. I imagine we'll most likely get introduced to many other supporting characters and new inclusions that help develop the plot forward. With June and Serena in a new location, we're going to have to be introduced to new characters as they'll most likely need all of the help that they can possibly get. Unfortunately for now, that's all that's known about The Handmaid's Tale Season 6. It doesn't seem as though we'll have that long to wait, but in the meantime, I'll be reading the book and also the spin-off book as well. So, there you have it. The Handmaid's Tale Season 6, Everything We Know. If you want to see more videos such as endings explained, theories and predictions and character breakdowns, then click on the I button. Or alternatively, you can head over to my channel where you'll find them all. If you want to give me a show or movie that you'd like me to review, then head over to my Twitter, @brainpilot_, and tweet me what show or movie you'd like me to review next. And finally, if you'd like to see what I rate the latest movies that don't quite make the cut to getting a dedicated video, then head over to my Letterboxd profile. It's where I rate the latest releases in real time. What do you think is going to happen? Leave a comment down below, and don't forget to subscribe. I'll see you next time.